Hello, everyone, and welcome back to JaianMusic Notes, the show where I break down the how, the why, and the what the heck was I thinking for every single anime cover I produce. I'm your host, JaianMusic, and today we're diving into one of the darkest and most layered pieces I've ever done. It's another Dragon Ball cover. I raise my hand, guilty. I love Dragon Ball. I love talking about these covers, so expect more episodes like this one. We're talking about my cover of the Perfect Cell theme from Dragon Ball Z. This track is a monster, just like Cell himself. It's cold, calculated, cocky, and absolutely brutal. And I have one goal: to create something that feels epic, crunchy, and just a little bit evil. So let's dissect it. Before we get into the madness of my Cell cover, I want to give a quick thank you to today's sponsor, Laser Audio Technologies. Whether you're looking to upgrade your plugins for creative effects purposes, Laser Audio Technologies has you covered. If you use code JaianMusic at checkout, you get 30% off and support this podcast so I can keep dropping episodes like this one. So again, that's Laser Audio Technologies and code JaianMusic for 30% off. And every dollar generated from that code goes straight back into the podcast, such as GoPro Kyo, who does all of the artwork. So let's get into it. The original Perfect Cell theme is just incredible. It reflects Cell's evolution from monstrous experiment to godlike villain. And my cover was heavily inspired by the dense layers of synth, the evolving textures that express the perfection of Cell's claims. You know, I'm perfect. I have to absorb 17 and 18. This theme, unlike Vegeta's theme or Frieza's themes, like, I'm not saying specifically they're like theme songs, but more the music associated with those characters. It relies more on a sort of pulse and texture. It creates tension through repetition. My cover has this piercing high lead synth that almost feels like a siren. Something dangerous is happening and you can't look away. And if I'm not mistaken, like, the Cell theme is one of the most covered remixed Dragon Ball Z tracks I've ever seen. There's so many covers of this thing if you go on YouTube. So many fan edits. So I joined the list. I joined the list very later on, but I joined it nonetheless. So I didn't want to just imitate that. I wanted to build something that had my own signature. And for me, these electronic cover songs are an excuse to just kind of go all over the place, layers and layers and layers. Because I feel with ambient music, I tend to be more minimalistic. So now let's peel back the layers to my version. I started with one question: what does perfect evil sound like? I wanted it to be heavy, but not just in volume, but in intention. I wanted it to be dense. The core of the track is built on a crunchy synth that almost feels like a distorted bass guitar. In this weird, when I say bass guitar, I really mean like the texture of it, that like really crispy overlays that come when you like crunch out your bass. So I created this like using heavily clipped saw waves, running them through bit crushers, and then I also have a sub bass that kind of creates a pulsing motion. The idea was to make it feel like a heartbeat within the evil of Cell. I also added like low end layers, so it creates like just added chaos without muddying too much. And a thing that is super important about this cover, bass was such an important and crucial part of it that I did something called mono making. And essentially, I'm taking my very, very low end frequency information, like 0 to 50 hertz. I'm getting kind of technical here, but it's important. And I mono made it. That means that my low end is the same in both channels of audio, left and right, 0 to 50 hertz. It's the same. It's the same information. And what that creates is like a low end punchiness without any like weird side things going on. The sides were much more occupied by the lead synth. So speaking of the piercing lead synth, that came last. I used a custom patch that I kind of played around with in Omnisphere, and there was a lot of Foreman filtering, and it had this like sort of screaming character. Think of it like Cell's ego turned into a melody, arrogant and super bright. And obviously a little bit of multi-band distortion. This was to really distort it differently in the frequency spectrum from range to range. So it gets more aggressive as the phrase progresses because of that. And you'll notice that the notes have this like sort of dirt to it because of it. It's more crunchy. It's more just ablazed. It's almost like the sound was set on fire. So now underneath all of that, there's other separate synth textures that are meant to be heard individually, but they're felt. So I have different tension of like synthesizers recharging, then like pure tones like a sine wave also in there just to like keep it super pure. A sine wave is very important in my opinion because it's just that tone and nothing else. And when you add more to it, it just kind of grounds the synthesis that you're building. So together, all these layers make it feel like Cell's just melodically in your face. It feels like almost psychological because of that. And the whole track is structured to reflect the progression of Cells in the series. Intro is sort of cautious and calculated. The middle section swells with that piercing lead synth, symbolizing like its evolution. And the ending, it just all comes together. But it's like got these different delays and reverbs that kind of like mesh it all together. And I feel like it's like almost like Cell's final laugh. So yeah, it's not just a cover. It's stepping into the mind of Perfect Cell, trying to craft a musical experience that feels menacing, layered, and disturbingly clean. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. If you haven't yet, please go listen to the full cover. You can stream it on your favorite platform. Just look up JaianMusic Perfect Cell theme. And hey, if you like this episode, please leave a rating, share it with a fellow Dragon Ball Z fan, and support the show by using the sponsor code JaianMusic over at Laser Audio Technologies for 30% off. Every dollar from that code goes straight back into the podcast. And GoPro Kyo, who does all of the artwork, please go give him a follow. His links are also in the description. My website is JaianMusic.com. I am at JaianMusic on social media. Follow JaianMusic Notes in your favorite podcatcher. And until next time, keep listening to all of my songs. Bye.